This did not have to happen. Montreal loses 2-1 to Calgary despite clearly being the better team. A couple of penalties here and there and a couple of chances that really should have gone in. And Josh Anderson, can you please put the puck in the back of the net? We got that, plus some other more positive things like Lane Hutson leading the NCAA in ice time by a lot, and an amazing quote from Coach Marty that is probably pretty applicable after that game tonight. So stick around for all of that on this episode of Habs Digest. But before we get into the video, if you're watching this for some reason, give us a subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. If you like our daily content, game reactions, every game, win or lose, we got it here. We got news, we got all of that on Habs Digest. Let's jump into this, Jesse, and it didn't have to happen, but things are starting to click for Montreal. You know, we kind of tackled this from a negative perspective, but you know, all things considered, this game versus Calgary, while the result was not what we wanted, it didn't have to happen because the Habs, I thought, outplayed them. You see Cole Caufield with 8 shots. You see Dvorak and Slafkovsky on an assist on Gustav Lindstrom's first of the season, acquisition in the Jeff Petrie to Detroit trade. I mean, it's more of a Rasmus Anderson own goal, but that's fine. You take what you can get as Lindstrom gets his first. Slaf gets an assist. That's nice. The rest of the team, nothing going on. Look, but here's the thing, Jesse. The Habs played really well, but it's just they can't finish. And I feel like we've said this so many times about the Habs. And while, yes, Jacob Markstrom was amazing, I feel like if the Habs just had like one more goal scorer, these kind of games would just be wins over and over and over again.
Yeah, and there was just so many times tonight, like where we thought we scored, starting off early with Gallagher. I thought for sure it had went in. You know, it was just kind of one of those games, like very much like it could have been so easy for us just to be talking about a different result tonight. This game could have went the other way, you know, and very much we're not going to blame Josh Anderson, you know, kind of for this one.
He played well.
But, you know, right. You know, we're just hoping, you know, to try and get a little bit more shots just on net. I think he's really just trying to pick those corners. I think he just needs to get it on net right now. But, you know, those little bit of contributions, which you feel is going to come inevitably. This is a great game to show that. It's like getting those contributions and not, it's kind of the difference between winning or losing. You know, basically in this game, this was so close. I love that we battled, though, all the way right to the end, you know, having a power play, you know, 6-on-4, you know, right to the end of the game, battling, you know, almost getting that goal to tie it up at the end. So showing a lot of heart. Got to feel like Marty, he's not super upset with this. At least we're able to get off to a good first period, right, Josh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the guys started strong. The first and the second I thought were quite good. There was a lot of great chances. The power play, despite not getting a power play goal, was absolutely buzzing the whole night. It felt like there was chance after chance after chance. There was one in the second period where I was like, just mind boggled that they didn't score. And there were so many chances, like Anderson hit a crossbar. One of Caufield's 8 shots literally hit Markstrom's nameplate on the back of his jersey and then deflected over the net. Suzuki tried to bank it in off Markstrom's elbow and it just dropped next to the post. Monahan on a wraparound just got pinned by Markstrom's skate. And at the very end, Josh Anderson on that 6-on-4 that may or may not have been deserved. You can talk about that. But the feed right out front to Anderson as Jacob Markstrom just flashes the leather with the glove in a split second, robs him blind. Look, the Habs had a ton of chances, Jesse, and I think that's kind of the main takeaway. I thought that, you know, some guys played really well. Like Caufield, it feels like he's cursed, and it feels like Josh Anderson is cursed right now. Both of them should have easily had a goal or two tonight. Suzuki's looking good, but you got to think. Look, I know we're seeing Slaf and Caufield start to have a bit more chemistry. Slaf, of course, getting a point tonight on the Gustav Lindstrom goal, but like, to me, it's like, I think these lines got to change up again. We've seen them for a few games in a row now. I don't see any reason why we don't go back to Suzuki, Slaf, and Caufield. But Slaf and Caufield showing some chemistry. You put them back around Suzuki while that top line just hasn't really been producing. I don't know. That's just my thought. I want to see that for the next game.
And I think that's actually the plan for Martin St. Louis, is exactly that, to develop that chemistry between Cole Caufield and Juraj Slafkovsky. And I think we saw a little bit of that this game, you know, that starting to develop a little bit more and then bring them back together. And we saw that, you know, Martin St. Louis in that third period, he was mixing up the lines a little bit, trying to find equalizer there. And we did see, you know, Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield reunited at some point. So, you know, maybe a sign of some more things to come pretty soon. Of course, you know, we're switching it up, but, you know, at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't be super surprised to, you know, see the lines kind of stay the same, because we were so close. Like,
true,
you know, for sure the shots were similar. Like, we got the more shots, you know, but Calgary got a similar amount, but like we had much higher scoring chances than them, looking at the advanced analytics from all of that, which for me is a nice indicator. It's like, okay, we got up to a good first period, which is important for this team. We just faced a really hot goalie tonight, but also, you know, the fact is that even though Calgary got their shots, we limited the quality of their chances, which I think has been a big thing for this Habs team this year. And even in this loss, what I did like in the first and second period, there was a lot of great play where, like, I felt when I was watching the players, like the Habs players, they knew their responsibilities, whether it was in the defensive zone, where their coverage is, and also on the offensive zone as well. So for me, that's really encouraging to get to see, where I'm seeing that structure. I'm really seeing that organization of the players knowing where to be on the ice, what to do. A lot of really nice outlets, clean breakouts from the zone, which obviously is so important, for our counterattack and everything else. But like you said, just kind of missing a little bit of that final touch, but Caufield, he was looking so dangerous, all over the ice tonight. Just, we couldn't quite find that one to take us over the top.
Yeah, like this is such a weird game because like there were so many positives because the team looked great. The chemistry was clicking, but the production just wasn't there. And it was so frustrating in that aspect. That last 6-on-4, I was screaming, shoot the puck. I was the classic hockey fan everyone hates, but I was like, come on, put it on net. Yeah, like I said, like the chapter title is things are clicking for Montreal, but like we're also like, this didn't have to happen because like just it feels like, how many times have we said, oh well, the Habs got walled by a hot goalie? It's like I feel like we say that more than a lot of other teams. It makes me wonder, maybe if we had some guys that were able to put the puck in different places than the net, maybe had a bit more of a goal scorer's touch, if you will, someone that's not Suzuki, Caufield, or maybe Monahan. You never know. But anyway, that's about it for that. Sam Montembeault had a great game. Like anyway, against Flash, set up 27 saves on 29 shots for a 931 save percentage. This guy's amazing. Also, I'm really glad Cayden Guhle saved. He took a skate to the face, to the visor, and part of the face. He went straight to the locker room. We're like, uh-oh. But he came back. He's all good. He played the rest of the game. So, all in all, a really, really well-played game. Just about the most unfortunate and frustrating result you could ask for. But let's move on. Something a bit more positive. And oh my gosh, Lane Hutson. He set even more records. Is this a record? I'll call it a record, because why not? Let's call everything a record, because this guy is record-setting all over the place. He is leading the NCAA 28. He is averaging more time on ice per game than any Montreal Canadien had tonight. That's Mike Matheson. He had 28-31 tonight. Lane Hutson's averaging almost half of the game on the ice. There's a reason he is the best defenseman in NCAA hockey. There's a reason he has 8 goals in only 7 games. There's a reason Boston University is out to a hot start. Him and Macklin Celebrini, who also looks amazing. Jesse, one big thing is like one translatable skill, clearly from one level to another, is your stamina and your physical fitness. And to me, that's what stood out to me when I saw this from Lane Hutson. This guy is not someone who just stands around either. He is constantly active when he has the puck and even off the puck. And to be able to play this much per game, that to me is a very, very solid translatable NHL skill.
Exactly. It's so true. And it's kind of showing that he can play in all situations of the game, which is so important kind of for that next level. Is like, we're asking ourselves, like, will Lane be able to play not just on the power play, but also playing, 5-on-5, everything else. I don't think we're asking him to kill penalties, but like still with the Montreal Canadiens, I think we're going to ask him, I think, and rightfully so, for him to play a lot of hockey for us. So the fact that he's able to do this is huge, and for me, I think, again, I'll give the comparison of Cole Caufield, just because, I mean, that's our boy, right? It's like just how Cole Caufield is able to play against bigger players. It's not like, I think that Lane Hutson will be able to do the same, talking about the projectability to the NHL. It's like, even though there's different roles as a defender, which Lane Hutson versus a forward as Cole Caufield, it's like they're still going to be playing the same players in the NHL, right? So for me, Lane is showing that he's more than up to the task, and he's just backing that up with his numbers right now. Really just taking control of that league, plain and simple.
Yeah, super excited. And hey, if the Habs season starts to go downhill, who knows if it will. Macklin Celebrini seems like a pretty good player. Chemistry with Lane Hutson already, anyone? Anyway, well, hopefully the Habs don't finish that low, but I mean, yeah, you never know. It's very interesting to follow this Boston University season. It's pretty spicy. Let's just jump into the final topic, and just quick at the end of the video. Just wanted to show a little Marty quote because we thought it was pretty relevant to this game here. Of course, the Habs came off a win against Boston on Saturday, but then got beat pretty bad by Vancouver. I mean, they played okay. I thought tonight's game against Calgary was way better than the game against Vancouver. It was closer to how they played against Boston. But Marty said the success we had early on this season might have hidden certain things. And I'm going to take responsibility for that as a young coach, to be careful and not really diving in on every part of the game just because we're winning. I'm not saying we didn't do that, but sometimes you put a little band-aid on something that requires minor surgery, and that's very true. I mean, in every aspect of life, if something's going well, you're succeeding in something, you're like, you don't look at your weaknesses, you kind of get blinded. You're just like, well, things are going well. Why? That doesn't really matter. But for a team like the Montreal Canadiens that's so young, that's still developing, still trying to learn how to put out these consistent performances every night, these things are important. And Coach Marty is like, hey, like, I mean, look, obviously these guys are allowed to have a ton of fun, but Marty just, again, showing how self-aware he is, but also showing, like, and again, especially after a game like tonight where the team played well, but maybe there's some little things they can do better to give themselves the edge. Maybe that the final 6-on-4. There's, again, just little things. Hey, maybe that could translate like a game like this into a win the next time.
And I think one of the big, things that they've worked on of late, they really improve on some of those things, is really their decision making, which, I think that they have been playing some solid hockey of late as a result of that. It's like, knowing when to really take your chances. And a lot of this does relate for like our defenders of knowing when to jump in the play, which is like the hardest role basically in the NHL, right? Because it's like when you're a defender in the NHL, it's like, if you miss your play, there's nobody to cover for you. So it's just the margin of error is just so much higher. And it's really hard. It's like you got to be able to jump into the play nowadays as an NHL defenseman. If you don't, if you don't do it at the right time, you're going to get burned, right? It's such a quick game. So I think a lot of not just our defensemen kind of learning to make, knowing when to jump in, what's the safe place to make in the neutral zone. And I think it's, it's like you want to take those chances, but I think just being a little bit more calculated with our decisions, as a team and everything else. And but overall, you got to feel that Martin St. Louis is pretty happy with this start.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. And like you said, calculated with your decisions, good decision making. That was the key factor that stood out to both of us in the Boston game. And I think going forward, that's going to be something else. But young players are going to be young. They're going to make mistakes. They're not always going to have the best decision making. We saw it with Xhekaj and Lindstrom tonight. There was a couple plays where you're like, uh-oh. But then Lindstrom also went up and stepped up and scored a goal, even if it was a bit of a weird one, right? There's ups and downs. You saw Justin Barron playing a lot tonight, but you had some other guys giving some turnovers. There's going to be ups and downs all season. It's another maybe tough season for Montreal, but we're seeing progress every single day, and I know Coach Marty is too. So you got to think the team's in very good hands. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you are by some miracle still around at this point and you haven't hit subscribe, why haven't you done it? Because you just watched this video and you liked it that much. Come on. You got no choice now. You got to hit the button. Anyway, that'll do it. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully on to the next game. We got some tough games coming up again, Jesse, but I think the Habs are ready. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.